Today we're having a look at the Tamron 90mm F2.8 macro lens for Sony full-frame mirrorless cameras, as well as Nikon Z mount. This thing is one of their newest releases and honestly, probably one of their best lenses, and I would say they're pro-level lenses at just an incredible price of $699 USD. So we're gonna break this thing down quickly today. This is not my full in-depth review. This is kind of like my first impressions after spending a few days with this lens, and I'm gonna give you some results and some initial thoughts. Thanks so much to Tamron for sending me this lens for a review, but as always, they didn't pay me and they have absolutely no input on what I say in this video about it whatsoever. But keep an eye out for my full in-depth review of this lens coming up, where I compare it to, of course, the legendary Sony 90 and maybe a Sigma or two in there as well. So this thing is honestly one of the best Tamron lenses that they've released in the last little bit. This is definitely pro level quality that you're getting out of this, and some firsts. So let's just kind of go through, break it down. Here are some of my favorite shots to date. I absolutely love macro photography. That's no surprise if you are a subscriber, and I have a lot of macro videos if you wanted to check those out as well. So it's your typical Tamron build, very well built, very sturdy, very rugged feeling. It's really tactile and nice, but they do a great job at keeping the size and the weight down. It's only 5 inches long here without the lens hood and weighs in at about 630 grams for Sony. One thing to note with this lens is that there is no image stabilization inside, so you're gonna have to rely on your in-body image stabilization, which these days is not that big of a deal because it's getting so good. So talk about the build. Yes, your typical build. It's got the amazing long Tamron warranty for peace of mind. In terms of buttons and switches, it's pretty bare bones like most of Tamron's lenses these days. It's got a focus limiting switch here, so if you are shooting macro, something close, you can keep it from trying to, focus too far and maybe messing up the shot a little bit. That's nice. And it also has a customizable focus hold button here, so you can nail focus with that or change that to an automatic manual focus switch, and a few other features that they allow you to do in their software. The big manual focus ring here is nice and tactile, moves easily. It's electronically coupled to your camera, and you do have a USB port here for that customization in the software, as well as any firmware updates. Now it does have the typical 67mm filter threads on there, and it does have a nice metal mount back here, and it is weather sealed for some confidence if you are taking this thing outside. Now a little bit of a different construction here in the lens hood. They have made a little bit of a room for some filters. If you are using an ND filter or a polarizer or something, they've made room for that, which is kind of nice and neat. It is a little bit bigger of a hood, but that's to keep down the glare from anything coming into the side, which can be a little bit more noticeable if you are shooting macro. And this is a true macro 1:1 magnification ratio, so you're going to be able to get up really close to your subject at about 9 inches with their minimum focus distance here. So macro lenses are definitely known for being very sharp, and this thing is no exception. This thing is insanely sharp. So of course this is going to be great for anything macro where you really want to shoot the details, as well as product photography, and maybe even some portraits if you're into that kind of style. So very, very, very sharp, and honestly at the price point, sharper than it should be. Here's a shot I took of a bug at 1:1 magnification here, wide open at f2.8. I then took the image into Topaz Labs Photo AI, upscaled it 4 times, and did a little bit of noise reduction. And here's the result when you zoom in on this now high resolution image. The detail that you get out of this lens is just phenomenal. And if you haven't checked out Topaz Labs Photo enhancing software, I really strongly recommend you do that. I'll link a video above for you to check out if you are interested. Now in a Tamron first, this thing does have 12 aperture blades in here, making for some beautiful out of focus backgrounds and transitions. And honestly, this is where this lens really separates it from the rest. Sometimes macro lenses can really struggle with that separation of subject, and this thing just does a beautiful job. It's an all-around shooter. It doesn't have a fixed working distance, so you can shoot macro very close up, or you can get out there and shoot some portraits as well, which is a really nice feature to have in something like this. The autofocus is incredibly fast, incredibly reliable, and honestly, it's no surprise these days. Tamron has absolutely killed it and knocked it out of the park with this lens, and I have absolutely nothing bad to say about it. I think the photos and the videos speak for themselves when it comes to this lens, as well as the value that you get with the price and of course the long warranty. This thing is a huge win in my books, guys. Keep an eye out for my full in-depth review with this lens and a couple others coming up here pretty quick. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you drop them down, and if you did want to pick this up, I will drop drop affiliate links down below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.